Yeah.
Are you ready to start? Should we jump into it?
Yeah, of
I'm gonna
course.
give you a little intro.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you brought receipts. This is the first
Oh,
time we
brother.
have like physical documents. On. I feel like Alex Jones.
Yeah, I got the.
They are cloning the frogs again.
They are. I bought the frogs, and I bought the other frogs.
You're gonna
watch
open
them
it. It's just gonna be a bunch of doodles.
Yeah. It's just where normally mommy froggy goes, but post whatever
Whatever
is turning
happened.
them. It's then now it's male to male.
Right.
Oh hey, I don't know. Is that what frogs call themselves?
I haven't asked them, but we could get an interview, I guess.
Is that the only frame of thinking that we have?
All right, I'm gonna start the recording here, and then we'll get into it. Maybe for the live people joining us live, Amsterdam, March 19th, was it?
March 19th at Radion
Yes.
from 7 p.m. to 3 in the morning.
You're gonna be hosting a fundraiser to cover all of the costs that the IND kept throwing your way, plus the healthcare costs, I imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah, amazing. Okay, let me start recording here, and I'll introduce you properly.
absolutely.
If you live in the Netherlands, you have probably laughed about how difficult it is to get your doctor to take you seriously. You know the usual response from the Dutch doctor being just take a paracetamol and go home. However, this joke can turn deadly when you actually need urgent care. Stories of people being denied life-saving care or having to beg on hospital floors until they finally get treatment are far too common. Joining me now, we have an old friend of mine, Pete Gomez.
Gomes. As they say in Brazil.
Yeah.
Gomes.
Otherwise known as the CEO of Money.
Cha-ching.
Pete recently went through 2 hernias in his lower spine and has been struggling to get much needed surgery. All of that while being threatened with deportation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's quite an intense story.
All at the same time.
Yeah, I think let's start on the healthcare side because that's
Oops, all problems.
because I think that's the part that people really can relate to, right? So can you just tell me what is actually wrong with your back and how did you realize that something went wrong?
According to the doctors, nothing. They
Uh-huh.
retracted their diagnosis. In my last consult with the not the surgeon, but the
Neurologist.
the neurology department,
Mhm.
they retracted their diagnosis of 2 hernias in my L4 and L5. So one of them was a proper hernia, and one of them was just like a really, really about to pop bulge. And those 2 caused some major damage once So a hernia, to explain, it is caused by several things. It can be a
You're doing my
transitional
job, but
progress.
go
It's
ahead. You're doing great.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
He said you're doing his job, but
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So, do you want to explain?
No. Go ahead.
So a hernia is caused by a long-term like impacts or compressions of the spine, but then there can also be very sudden moments that cause the hernia to burst. And what a herniated disc is that there's a little disc inside of your spine between 2 vertebrae, and it's like a little gel packet, and it's surrounded by like a more solid flesh, and inside there's gel. And then once that pops, the gel leaks out, and it can press onto your nerves.
right, because the nerves I think leak with it, right, or comes out.
No.
Yeah, they come out of the spine like it's a
Right.
big cable kind of gutter thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all comes from the
With
brain
holes.
down the spine, and then they're all intertwined there.
Yeah.
I
So
saw the thing so many times. They explained it to me so many times, but that was the only thing they ever explained to me.
amazing. So, well, not amazing, but that's what a hernia is. And then when did you realize that you have suffered from hernia, or like when did you feel the pop? Let's say.
Yeah, so I worked as a manager for a nightclub for 3 years. Well, as a manager I did 1.5 years, but I worked at a nightclub for 3 years, and then also another year and a half before that at a different club. So I was already lifting boxes, very, very heavy boxes, for a very long time during the nights, for 12 hours at a time sometimes. And I started getting back. I've always kind of had a weak lower back, but I wasn't. Now that I have hindsight, I can tell that was because of like not so much support around the spine and the gluteal muscles that you're supposed to have, to support that. And I guess I just wasn't using that, and I was lifting incorrectly and stuff. And then after one of the parties that I was bartending at, actually, it's a bar that's very narrow, and like there's runners and they come and they fill the fridges and stuff. And so when there's a runner behind you and then there's like 15 people in front of you, and you have just about like maybe a meter of space to play with, you're kind of doing like these weird movements for like 14 hours at a time. That was a long party. So after that party, I came home with such bad lower back pain that it was like almost crippling.
Yeah, can you explain a little bit for the people at home? What does it feel like to have a hernia? What is like, how intense is the pain?
There's two things, because it gets worse. The moment that I knew that I had it is different than the moment that I was feeling it for the first time, because there's like the dull aching pain of just the regular back pain that's caused by the hernia. Yeah. And before it pops, there's a different type of pain. It's like a dull, aching, pressing pain, and it's just constant, and it's all consuming. Your brain is kind of just, oh my God, I'm dealing with this pain, and you can't think of anything else. But then when it bursts, and if it bursts in the correct position, it squeezes the nerve, and it does nerve compression, and that can be semi-permanent to permanent damage. And that's what happened to me. I stretched to relieve what I thought I had been diagnosed with as lumbosacral radicular syndrome. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah. No, now.
I won't.
Okay, nice. Politely declined. And the frogs, will they do it? Attentive ears. The moment I stretched with this thing, I brought my leg kind of in like a, so, wait, it's confusing because it's backwards. So the leg is like this, knee, okay, foot facing that way. I brought my leg like this, and then I brought it up towards me. I can't really do it now. You can't see my legs. But then that moment, I felt like an electric shock in my back. And it was almost like I got shot. Like I never experienced that type of pain. And it's like, then it's the only thing you know. Like you forget language, you forget like how to communicate. My girl was like, what's going on? I was like, oh my God. And then I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Right. It's like, it's the most painful thing you can ever feel, I think.
Yeah, the thing that most people maybe can relate to it a little bit is when they go to the dentist and they touch a nerve for a little while, then you know how intense this kind of pain is when the nerve gets hit or compressed. Yeah. It's like it goes through your entire
and the reason is that you're literally messing with the nerve itself, which is responsible for feeling, right? Yeah. So
from a hernia, you actually get something that it's what are they called? The lumbosacral, the radicular syndrome is also known as the pain that people get here.
The sign.
There's like a more popular sciatica. So people call it sciatica in English.
And
then in doctor they call it lumbar. In Dutch is what?
Yeah, ischias they sometimes call it, but it's actually ischias here is more a term for where it is not really on the nerve, the compression, but it's just lower back pain with some radiation to the gluteal part. But
mine went past the glutes, down the leg on the back here, and down into my
all the way
foot,
to the
all the way down, and the nerve kind of wraps in a weird way. It goes like from the lower back and then into your thigh in the back, and then it goes on the outer leg on the right side on my calf, and then it goes back into the foot onto my toe. That entire thing
goes all the way.
That entire thing it's paralyzed now.
Yeah, so
it was paralyzed. Then I couldn't lift my leg.
So you still have troubles lifting your leg. I mean, we met 2 days ago, and I saw you walking towards me, and I'm used to you. I mean, I think people can tell you're very energetic, you're very out there. But when I saw you walking towards me, I mean, I didn't say it, but I did for a moment be like, it's painful to see my friend struggling to walk a little bit. Yeah. And that's because now still that nerve is damaged.
I can barely really lift my leg. That's about as far as it goes. But you have 3 main sort of muscle groups that you can do it. So I can lift my leg when I go inward.
When you go to,
or outward. But directly up, I can't really lift.
And for the people at home, he lifted his foot for, I would say, 2-3 centimeters maximum.
Yeah, that's with the full... If I'm standing up, I really can't do it because then I got the full weight of everything. And it's supposed to be forward, right? Like here, I'm kind of lifting it up with the aid of different muscles. But as you walk... That's a different muscle, and it's super bad. And then on my hip here, like it's numb. Like I don't feel it on the outside here, numb. I don't feel it. Inside of my foot, there's like paralyzation also. And I knew it. Like it happened immediately. I couldn't lift my foot anymore.
And at what point then do you start to realize that the doctors are not going to help you? with all of this excruciating pain going on?
I think it was it was the third time I went there. So I went to the neurology department at the OVG Oost, and I will call you out because, oh my God, it's inhumane. I've never seen this before. This kind of treatment. I grew up in Brazil. All right. Think about Brazil in your mind, about the public services that are available. I had far better care in Brazil than I ever did here.
Which I can say, by the way, also, I know from my Bolivian family, we go back to Bolivia whenever we need real medical care. Because even in Denmark, where it's free, sometimes the doctors are very incompetent. Well, I don't want to call them incompetent because I don't think they are.
No, they're just held
hostage by the system.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into later on.
Yeah.
But so then, how was that experience there in Oost?
The first 2 times it was all right because like I went to the emergency room and the lady there was super nice. She did incredible. Like she made me feel okay. Like the whole entire procedure she did, like of testing, she was really like super conscious of my experience and my pain and my suffering and all this. And then I thought, oh my God, okay, nice, I'm taken care of.
That's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Then they sent me home and they were like, okay, we're gonna schedule an MRI. MRI happens without any doctor supervision, so you go in there. But then I think the second or third visit that I went to the actual neurologist, I got there and it was just some different lady that I never saw before, and she's like, she sees me at the waiting room, huh? And then I'm like, oh my God, no, already.
Yeah, and then you get that stare.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
and then we go.
What's the stare?
The guy being like, what's the stare?
Is this my white privilege talking? Yeah. Okay.
They're like, someone just disapproves of your overall existence. You know?
Okay.
It's like, I have to deal. Like, I can't believe that I'm being forced to deal with you, right?
But it gets even better, bro.
Yeah.
I walk into their office and she's like, I have no clue who you are or why you're in my office. I'm not your doctor, and I don't know why you're here. And I was like, oh wow, this is, you know how long it took me to get this thing? It was like 4 weeks. I've been living now with this still.
But you did have an appointment with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But you go in.
I was bounced between like 3 or 4 doctors in the beginning. So it was like the emergency room person, then there was the neurologist, then there was a different neurologist. This one she had no idea because optimally you're being seen by the same neurologist. You know?
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And she was like, I have no idea why you're here. I was like, well, me neither. Tell me, please.
Yeah.
What is going on? What's going to happen? What do I have?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had yet to diagnose me by then.
And her response?
Yeah, we're just going to look at the MRI when it comes in. And yeah.
And that's it.
And that's it. She stonewalled me for the rest of the consult. It was like 10 minutes. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. Can you answer some questions? She's like, yeah. And I was like,
okay.
If you feel like you really need to.
Yeah. Let me see. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? Like, what movements are safe? And she's like, well, you just walk as regular. You can walk as normal. I was like, as normal? I can't walk as normal. I can't. That's the whole problem.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, just don't lift anything. I'm like, okay, but what if I walk like this? Is this going to damage the rest of my back and stuff? What if I walk like this? And she's like, nah, I'm okay with that.
Oh,
just like responsive, right? It's responsive.
I know exactly what you mean, right? So you're there and you're like, hey, I have this issue. What should I do about, like, is it serious? And they're like, no.
Yeah,
like it's literally
no.
And then you slowly like start to get a little bit of information out of them. Then all of a sudden you realize, wait, this is serious. So then you're like, okay, but then I should definitely avoid that, right? And they're like, yeah, I would avoid it. And that's so Mr. Doctor, why does it work that way? Why already at this stage?
What part?
Is it so hard to get like a doctor to just look at you and give you advice on what to do about your health next?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different things that come with it, right? And like you said, you were actually judged from the moment you walk in the door. At least that's what you felt. And I would say, yeah, it's likely probably because if I look around at what I saw in healthcare, then it's so common to just judge every patient based on the way they present, their personality, and just be like, this one is annoying, they are exaggerating. And it's a lot easier they do it a lot. We do it a lot. Do it a lot faster when it's someone that's not from this country.
Right.
So you have the general stereotype that people who are Latino or like Southern European or anything that's not Anglo-Saxon, West European, that they exaggerate their pain, right? They exaggerate their complaints.
That's the key. I always feel like
Where do you get taught this? I've been thinking about this. Like, where does it start? Is it in the school? Is it in medical school? Is it before that?
No, it's before that because it's the whole cultural upbringing.
Yeah.
We deal with the pain differently a little bit, right? Than most cultures. But then the problem is that it gets linked to this supremacy. It's like our way of dealing with it is better than other ways.
Yeah.
And there's just no understanding that, because what I hear from your story, the person in the emergency room, they didn't do anything to cure you or to fix your problem, but at least you felt like they were trying to help you.
Yeah.
And what a lot of doctors seem to forget is that this is like one of the most important elements for patients, no matter what you're going to do after. Even if you're going to give them bad news after, even if you don't have a treatment for them, if you can get this part right, that you acknowledge the person, acknowledge their complaints, see that what they are dealing with is causing a problem for them, then at least people feel like you are trying to take care of them. And this part gets left behind a lot.
Yeah, and just to say, like, I think the key point is whenever I walk into the situations, or what I hear from my friends as well, is you feel like the doctor assumes that you're trying to scam them.
Yeah.
That you're trying to
time.
commit fraud.
Yeah.
That whatever you're saying, you're just there to waste their time. That you don't really have an issue. You just woke up and did all this paperwork and showed up in front of them to waste their time.
This does stem also a lot from the guideline thinking. So the guidelines, they are there. They aren't set in stone. I mean, you can deviate from the guidelines all you want, but and especially hernia and lower back pain is kind of notorious for this, because the assumption, which is based on statistics, is that young people don't get it so often, right? And there's a typical presentation. You actually had a quite typical presentation where it reaches to your toes. So one of the clinical determinants is, does the pain reach below the knee? And if it's below the knee, the chances of it being a herniated disc are actually a lot higher.
Right.
But then when people show up who don't fit the typical pattern, or who don't fit the typical patient group, then you are almost outright dismissed, and the barrier to get treatment or like an MRI gets higher.
Okay, so
you know what? I just want to make one thing too, is that like in those first couple of visits, I made the mistake of asking a little bit too many implicative questions. I was like, could it be perhaps that my brain is, because at that point I was still feeling a lot of the pain, right? So we didn't know if when the pain subsided that my nerve was still going to be paralyzed. And I was like, could it be possible that my brain is just kind of keeping me from doing something so painful that it keeps me from lifting it? Because at that point I was like, I can kind of, I can feel it kind of going. And then they took this statement as like, I'm not lifting my leg because of the pain. And then they ran with this to the end for months. Bro, they did MRIs, they did all the scans, they did all this, but they're like, but you can't lift your hip because of the pain, right? And it's like, I said that in my first consult.
Yeah, and you didn't.
There's like a real term for this. Like if your function is impaired, like you are paralyzed, right? And the other one is you are impaired because of the pain. There's a term for it, and actually it is used a lot to dismiss symptoms as being not explained by a regular diagnosis, but being more unexplained medical problems or pains. So this is actually quite a common term to be used. That that you are not functionally impaired, but you are impaired because of pain, and it's something different.
But they kept doing the test, and they knew that I was impaired. They knew, they saw it. They're like, yeah, no, this muscle group is completely paralyzed, because I was like laying there in the bed, bro. And oh my god, it's so.
But
fucking
this got written down at some point, and then they carry it to the
file
end.
until the end.
It's so weird, because like I made so many other questions, but that's the one that they kept going with, and I was like, oh my god, I fucked myself from the beginning.
Yeah, but I want to highlight the checklist that you're saying that you need to fit this and that symptom, be in this and that age group in order to get the treatment, and if you don't fulfill these criteria, you're not going to get treatment. We're going to get into why that happened in a second, but I want you, because I know that you fit all the criteria except for one at some point, and I want you to explain that story as well.
Yeah, so the criteria for this is like, it's like, can you lift your foot? Does it hurt? Does it hurt in the leg? Does it hurt in the back? Do you have trouble holding your pee, or do you have trouble peeing? And also, there was a few more, but I ticked almost every single one, and including like numbness of the groin, numbness of like my butt cheeks. This is not a glorious, and it's not a like fantastical thing, okay? It happened around my jiggly bits. And
I love asking the question too when I have to.
That's
no, because it's always hard to explain.
Yeah. So there's like this numbness, and then it was also like it was hard for me to push my pee out at some point, so I couldn't push pee. I was not pushing pee. I was really not pushing pee. Sorry,
no, I understood.
Okay.
Pushing pee. The T. Go on.
Pushing Pete.
Were you able to still keep your shit inside?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So I could hold it in, and I was not pissing myself. So I was not shitting myself or pissing myself, to be as crude as it, because I'm trying to the shock factor of a person who is in the most immediate pain that you could possibly have, and then have a doctor come in. He's like, you tick all the boxes, but are you shitting yourself? Are you pooping your pants? Are you perhaps pissing your pants right now? And I was like, no. And then because I don't even know where to start with this. It's so fucking crazy. They started asking me this, and it started getting worse, and so then I started ticking more boxes. And then at some point in my mind, I was like, fuck it, man, I'm pissing myself. And then you know what they do? They fucking took a goddamn ultrasound of my bladder to see if I had piss inside. And they're like, you're lying.
Really?
Yeah. And the lady doing the ultrasound said, but this guy, what is he talking about? He can hold his piss in. I'm like, oh my god, bro.
Yeah, because at some point you have to start faking symptoms in order to get
only that one
treatment.
And you know, it's, bro, like, it's so, because I want to talk to you a little bit before we skip over this, is the examination can be so humiliating, man. They make me take my pants off and then walk on my heels completely butt naked then if you get something called a clap foot, where your heel, it cannot hold itself up. So then she makes me walk across the room, and I told her, you've tested me 4 times already. At some point I was like, I'm not going to do this again. You know that's happening. And she's like, nope, get up, take your pants off, and do it.
Right.
And then like, at one hospital, they took me to a different hospital that I'm not even a patient in, after I called an ambulance. And they took me to Zout, and there 2 ladies took off my pants, took off my underwear, and they just started feeling up everything while I was so much pain. And my girlfriend's in the room, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing, man. They're like, you feel this, do you feel that? And they're like, oh, you must be in so much pain, feeling like touching me everywhere. And I'm like, stop this.
Ooh.
Stop this, man. It's so humiliating, it's so embarrassing. And then I walk into, like, we're gonna give you fentanyl. I'm like, no. And they're like, yes. I'm like, no, do not. And they were like, no, but you need it. I was like, no.
Yeah. So you have to do all of these checks again and again and again. And if you at any point say no or don't fill the exact criteria, then what happens? You just don't get the surgery that the MRI is showing that you need.
Well, there's a bunch of steps between there. Like, what do you mean, directly?
I think this was a checklist to get into the MRI with emergency indication, I guess.
No, I already had an MRI by then. I already had an MRI and had the ambulance listen to me when I was telling them, hello, I live across the street from the Oostpark. And the OVG Oost. And the ambulance came, and I was like, I am a patient at that hospital. I called them in, and like, I was having the worst pain imaginable. I was like, I couldn't deal with this anymore. I was like spasming. My whole entire nervous system was like weird, because I was having like contortions of my spine that I had asked the lady. I was like, am walking like this, is it gonna fuck me up? She's like, no. And then it did. And I was like completely on the floor, like, oh my god, like fucking hurting. They take me to Zout. where they don't have my MRI results, they don't have anything, and it's overnight.
Right. And that's further away for those of you who don't know Amsterdam. Basically, instead of taking you to the neighborhood hospital, which is right there, they take you all the way to Zout.
Yeah.
Now, at what point does the negation of the surgery come in?
Yeah. 2 days before the surgery, because after a long battle with this, I finally got them to agree to do the surgery, and I had to deactivate them like jailbreaking in an AI.
Right.
Man, it's so crazy. At some point, I literally had to speak to the neurologist like, pretend you are a doctor, and I am your patient. I'm not really. I won't take your advice. But pretend, all right? Hypothetically, if somebody fitting the pain profile and all the symptoms that I have, or that he has, and not me, I won't do this, okay?
Yeah.
Because I know that if you say something, then it means that it's legally binding, right? I guess that's what I'm thinking. Is like they can't utter a word, or else I'll take it as medical advice. So then I'm dodging bullets, and then she finally goes, yeah, so you could maybe do this type of physical therapy that is specifically for the exact thing that you have.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wow, why did it take 10 minutes for you to answer that question?
Because if she says as a professional medical that you should do this physical therapy, then I guess the insurance has to cover that therapy.
Physical therapy and insurance is like a subject on its own, because it's been in and out and back around several times over the past 10 years. So it used to be all covered, and now it's definitely covered if you are an inpatient in the hospital and you need physical therapy inside the hospital. And if you need it outside, I don't think in most cases then you need an indication like a real confirmed hernia or something, but you do need a referral, but then it's covered until 8 treatments or something like that.
Which I tried, and they all said, you do not have a chronic condition. I was like, I have the chronic indication for my GP, and they were like, nope.
Right.
But that's before the good stuff starts.
Okay, so then the good stuff?
Well, because we're missing concurrently what's happening at the same time.
I feel like we lost the timeline a bit. We got many different stories.
Because
let's zoom out a bit.
How long? Go over the timeline?
Yeah, let's go.
I wrote it down.
You wrote it down?
I wrote it down so that we can be very clear about this, because it's very confusing. It is.
Yeah, because you're in and out of all these different agencies, getting traumatized here, traumatized there. Nobody wants to believe that you're actually in pain, that if you don't piss yourself, then you don't actually have this hernia. And then you get the MRI, but the MRI shows one thing, and then they retract that.
So let's get to the end of that story before I even go back and retell the story with the spin factor, okay? So I finally called the surgeon. I was like, oh my God, finally. I call him on the phone, never meet with him in person. This guy's about to open up my spine, and he calls me on the telephone. And then oh my God, this another thing about being a foreigner here is that my phone that I had just newly purchased before I moved here is locked, is region locked.
Right, to the US.
With an eSIM. It's digitally locked. Makes sense of that. And then I couldn't get a Dutch number. And so I had to put my girlfriend's number in there for my emergency contact.
Yeah.
And then I had a different friend at some point for the emergency contact, but they have my phone and they can call my phone. They can, because they've done it before. But then some of the ladies just don't want to call me on that phone.
Because it's not a Dutch number.
Because it's not a Dutch number. And then they avoid calling the number I have on there as my number, which they can call.
Yeah.
They call my girlfriend. They call this other friend. They don't answer. And then they reschedule my consults for like 2 months later because it's so busy. And so then if I can't pick up the phone, which they don't call.
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend who's at work can't pick up the phone because it's not their fucking business.
Yeah.
Then I am out of a consult. So then finally I get the call with this guy, which took a while. And then he was like, okay, well, it looks like you kind of want the surgery, right? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, have you considered that this is, quite the invasive surgery? I was like, yes. He's like, well, have you considered all the other options that there are? I was like, yes, I've considered them, and no, I don't want them. He's like, okay, but are you really, 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 really super duper cherry on top sure? He didn't say that, but implied it.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll put it in. It felt like that, And then finally he does it.
Yeah.
And because during that entire period, my girlfriend is so livid with these people that that they want to rush the thing because the surgery is in another like 2.5 months. And my girlfriend's like, just rush it. She's calling the hospital all day long. They're calling the hospital all day long. So they were like, you know what? Fine, we'll give you an MRI in between where I had already been diagnosed and my surgery. And then 2 weeks before my surgery, I go for a second MRI. And they take advantage of that second MRI. And they look at that and they say, oh, I get a call 2 days before my surgery.
It's healing by itself.
Yeah, they're like, actually, it seems like there is no significant compression of your nerve. It might be Lyme disease. We think it's Lyme disease. And I was like, you are
Wait,
what?
without any testing for Lyme disease?
Yeah, bro. Yes, I am.
Oh,
I was literally like crying the moment before she called also because I was like I was like, oh my God, finally I'm having my surgery. And I was like laying in bed, holding a pillow on the floor.
You have pain throughout all of this, no? So then
yeah. And I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor because my bed hurts. So I'm like humiliated. I'm on the floor hugging a pillow, stuttering in pain and going like, oh my God, finally. And I get this call and this lady's like, yeah, we're going to cancel your surgery because you have Lyme disease. Fucking Lyme disease. You know what Lyme disease is, guys?
Yeah,
Huh?
I do.
You get bit by a fucking tick.
Yeah.
You get Lyme disease.
Yeah, which also causes a nerve issue, but very different, right?
Yeah, but I never got bit by a tick and they didn't even ask.
Yeah. So then 2 days, I just find it like I need people to put themselves in your shoes, right? So you have this constant pain in your back. You just want the doctor to do something about it. And now you did all of the bureaucracy, all of the humiliating rituals almost, and managed to convince them that just because you have an American accent, you're not lying about your symptoms and your pain. And 2 days before, they take advantage of the extra MRI they made you do so that you didn't have to wait 2 months for the surgery. 2 days before the surgery, they call you and they say, listen, you're not going to get this surgery because we think it might be something completely different.
Yeah.
Even after all of the testing that we've done.
Yeah.
So have you had your surgery?
No.
And what does it look like they're going to give you a surgery?
No. Because after this call, I went and they sent me to the OVG West. They know I can't walk. They sent me across town. Even though I have OVG Oost across the street.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They made me go all the way there.
Oost means east,
Yeah.
west means west. So
I'll do it in English. But they take me all the way to the west of the city. Okay, and it costs. I cannot take the metro because they've turned up all of my streets, so I can't easily even get to the metro. So now I'm paying 40 euros there, 40 euros in return. I get to the hospital in West for my last consult with the neurologist. 8 minutes late, I am in the queue. 8 minutes later, I'm staring at the receptionist in the face, in the eyeballs. And then takes 2 minutes to attend the doctor in front of the patient in front of me. He goes out of line. I go up. It is 10 minutes. And because of the 10-minute rule, I am technically late. So she stares at me in the face after I literally ran down the hallway, dragging my leg behind me. Like dragging it because I can't do it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. And so I get there. I'm panting. She's like, you're late. I'm going to call the doctor to see if she has time to see you. And you know where the doctor was? In the fucking room next to her. Like I'm going to call the doctor. And she's like, And I was like, I'm here. And she's like, don't give me attitude. I was like, you have no idea what I have been through to get here. Just give me the consult. Just like, let me sit there and then go into that room where I know the doctor is.
Yeah.
And she's like, the doctor will see you now.
Okay, but at least you got to see the fucking doctor at that point.
Yeah.
And
she makes you take my pants off, do the whole ritual again, and then stonewalls me, tells me, we are retracting your diagnosis and we are no longer going to see you anymore because this is no longer a neurology department issue. We're going to send you to the pijnpolie, which is the pain clinic inside the hospital. And the pain clinic does not treat the condition. It just treats symptoms. So they want me to have a fucking spine, the epidural, which hurts like a bitch.
So at the end of all of this, no treatment given.
No, nothing happened. Like nothing happened.
Just they want you to pay for medication, pain medication.
Yeah, oxys.
For the rest of your life. How long does this last?
Well, the whole time that they kept feeding me oxys and opioids, and that's all they would do.
Yeah, but now like
no, I just declined it, and I don't want it. Now the pain is like temporary, where like if it's certain things I do, it's hurting. I have like a constant aching pain in my back, but I can do things now. I can at least walk, but I cannot lift a certain amount of weight, and I haven't even tested. I don't know how much because they won't see me.
Right.
So they never tell me what's wrong. So
Ah,
all of that, nothing happened. No treatment at all. There was no treatment. They didn't touch me. They didn't prescribe anything.
And how much did you have to pay for all of that together?
Why? Hang on. Let's talk about why I had to pay.
Yeah, also go on.
Yeah. Well, I was getting deported. Sorry, I get a little bit emotional.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Understand. You have the right to be angry. I would be losing my mind. Yeah.
I did hear recently a story about some young guy who was a refugee here, and he also had a surgery planned, but then the IND declined his application like a week or something
IND
before
is
the surgery, and
immigration
then
services.
they canceled the surgery, which is crazy because either you have a medical indication for the surgery, which means you need it, which means you have a right to it.
Human right.
Or you don't have a medical indication, in which case you don't have a planned surgery. But canceling a surgery because of a decision by IND, it's like in how do you say, it's in
It should be illegal, right?
yeah,
And I think under Dutch
in a way
law,
it is, right? It's unequal treatment. It's the access to care that's being blocked on the basis of
immigration status.
Yeah.
So this usually at least would somewhat be covered by the Dutch private healthcare insurance.
All of it would have
companies.
been, yeah.
I mean, you still have out of pocket, right? To a certain
Yeah,
extent.
which would have been
Like
385.
385, okay. Which, by the way, now they want to raise to 500. But yeah, you would have had to pay the first 300 yourself, but the rest would have been covered, despite how terrible it was. But because of this issue with the IND, so the immigration office, none of it was covered.
Yeah, this is a tricky story. So it's hard to say none or all. It's absolutes don't work here.
Okay.
So now let me give you the full timeline because it gets really confusing.
Yeah, let's
And I had to write it down with my girlfriend just before I came here. So December of 2024, right before Christmas, like 2 days before Christmas, I got a letter saying that I was going to be deported because fast backward, I guess. I came here to the Netherlands with a different partner. And I was in a partner visa. That's a 5-year visa. And the conditions are that you live with that partner and that they have enough money. And after juggling family money around and putting like standing, because there's this, which is also relevant, the EU court rulings, which are very relevant to all of my cases. I won my first, okay, so the Netherlands has an immigration department and they have their own set of rules. But it's part of the EU, and the EU also has an immigration court, and those rulings are just as important than the IND ones, but the IND ones come first, and then you can appeal with an EU court.
Right.
So the first time I appealed it was based on a case that says that if you have the amount that we ask for monthly all in together, so instead of you doing 5 years of 2,200 a month and you add that up and it equals out to 100,000, you get to be here. And let me tell you, I do not have 100,000. Okay, that was all like money from my sponsor girlfriend's partner or parents that they moved into that account, and then they hold it, and then they are in charge of my life. And 6 months after, I spent personally all of my money after liquidating all of my objective assets, like all of my car, all of my everything, all of my belongings I sold because I left LA because it was during coronavirus. It was really bad. Came here. Then I had nothing. I had nothing but my money. I spent all of my money being here, to get here, to live here. $8,800. And then 6 months in, that partner breaks up with me, essentially leaves, moves to Amsterdam. I was still in Delft, taking care of their mother. They abandoned me there, and they called me. They're like, "Yeah, I signed out of the address."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, but you know that you can't do that. You know that you couldn't do that. You can't do that
Because then you're going to be deported.
because then I'm deported." And so they did that, and for no other reason. That's okay. So then that's fresh, right? In my mind, I just liquidated all the stuff that I had. I stayed here, and I tried to make a life for myself. And lo and behold, for some luck of the draw, the IND didn't get notified of this change because I think during Corona, and there were also the IND has been shifting from a fax system to a digital system. So it's been a whole big movement in there.
So you managed to stay and slip through the cracks of the IND, basically.
Yeah. one could say. But then I'm also a law-abiding citizen. Huh? I'm not doing crazy shit. I work, I pay taxes, I built a life, I built a community. In fact,
which is, by the way, so you are you're staring now at what the right wing would call an illegal immigrant. Let's say.
Yeah.
Right. So my first question is, how many dogs have you eaten? Right. Like
every single one of them, one that I see.
No, but like according
so delicious.
According
I'm in
to
the
Tren
de Aragua.
exactly. According to the right wing, these are
you
all
have tattoos.
Yeah,
So
you
you
get
get 1 point. At
Yeah.
least.
No, I get many points. I'm in all of the Tren de Aragua.
You hunt and eat our pets. You are a violent criminal. You're part of a narco trafficking ring. And you don't pay any taxes and only steal millions and millions from the government, right? This is what the right wing would assume. In reality, you are here. When you need healthcare, you can't get it. You pay taxes, you go to work, and you do everything normally like everyone else. It's just that you happen to come legally and then
got broken up with,
and therefore your status got invalidated.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the human aspect of this, and this reflects on far greater proportion of immigrants that we have here than the fucking Tren de Aragua violent cat eating whatever Somalis that they always like to stereotype.
Yeah, which country are they from this time?
Yeah,
The Tren de Aragua, it moves, right? It's like first it's a Somali, Venezuelan, isn't it? Yeah, now it's Somali. That gang is a transient one.
Depends on who we're invading next, I guess. Yeah. But
I'm all in all, though, a success story in this country, because before the IND was notified of my status, I had built a very, very, very nice life. And I'll tell you why this is relevant is because the IND makes the judgment that you are taking resources from legal citizens, all right? I live in my girlfriend's home that's owned by the family. Mm-hmm. I'm taking housing away from nobody. I have a community. I know the language. I speak Dutch. I am a revered part of the community. I literally built a community that's like it was like 100 strong. It was via the platform, right? And I was platforming young and upcoming artists of the Netherlands, distributing wealth among the Netherlands.
Yeah, the platform, one of the best platforms, as the name suggests, for young artists in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
they've done incredible shows. I watched them go from a small organization coming out of right beside Radion,
Club Atelier. Acta, Club Atelier, that was our first one.
Yeah, coming out of Acta into having thousands of attendees, working with amazing brands and artists worldwide. So yeah, just to say, like, what you were contributing to society is valuable.
Brother, a Dutch artist who just recently won the Pop Ronde looked at me in the eye and said, "Pete, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have a career. Thank you."
Yeah, and I believe them because I've worked with these people.
Yeah.
Before I went into politics, I was trying to help them. So, yeah, that's also.
And I'm not trying to tout my own, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just trying to paint the picture that I'm not this
criminal,
this worthless
doing nothing,
guy,
not contributing. Yeah,
I'm not the Dutch citizens that are in the Oosterpark smoking crack because their government won't feed them. No, I come here and I feed your people. I'm the government's daddy. I literally, the gemeente gave me 10,000 euros to distribute among my community as a financial incentive fund.
Yeah. No, the platform has gotten many times funding from the Amsterdam gemeente.
We give money to your people.
Yeah, and you do amazing stuff with that. Yeah, and still, so you had this success story, but still you were not allowed to stay, according to the IND.
So then it comes in 2024. There's this thing called the inburgering process, which is like the test for you to become Dutch, like integration process. Yeah. And that's handled by Duo.
Infamous integration process, which is supposed to be our Lord and Savior, right?
Yeah. And then I go to the course. Yeah, I sit there, and she literally, bro, this course, you're supposed to like learn history and this and that and that.
Yeah.
She goes, this is how you say hello. This is how you say goedemorgen.
No, it is really...
No, literally, there's like a scam. They talk about the Somali children kindergarten scam in the US, but here we have the scam where like people they found this integration institute. They get subsidies and they hire subpar teachers that don't do anything.
Yeah.
And recently, a friend of mine was in one near Wageningen, and actually this school got into trouble already. And one of the teachers there, a good person who like did the work with her heart, she was commenting on like how the quality is bad and how can these things happen. And these people get kicked out. And meanwhile, the refugees are without classes for weeks, but this institute keeps getting the funding from the municipality.
No, not just from them.
Is ran. Yeah.
You know who else they get funding from?
Tell me.
They get funding from me.
Yeah, because you have to pay for
You
that.
have to pay for it as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
don't integrate on time, you have to pay for it. You have to pay a hefty fine of 1,200 euros.
And you cannot, can you choose which institute you take in this case?
Mine was just the duo. Like duo.
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
went to, in Osdorp.
Yeah, so a
was
lot
one
of
there.
times you
Shout out.
cannot even choose the one that you get
No,
assigned to. The municipality has a contract with a certain supplier and you have to stick to that one.
If I remember correctly, you sign up on the website with your address, and then it gives you the nearest one, and then it auto makes the appointment for you. So you don't pick. It just goes, this is where you go, and then, or maybe I'm wrong, but they only gave me that option because I remember not liking because it was all the way in Osdorp.
So it's another another fake free market thing where they say, it's private companies, it's not the municipality organizing it, but in the end, it's a fixed market with private investors who just swallow a lot of tax money and they don't deliver.
Yeah. But
And
this
they
story is
also
about
swallow your
loopholes.
money
Huh?
on top
Yeah,
of that.
this story is about loopholes. This entire thing, I like the beauty of what was going on. It was almost like if I had a prediction market back then, if Keshi, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I do not endorse that shit. Do not go do it. But I would have started betting on like what was gonna go wrong. Because like I was with my girlfriend at some point, I was like, this is gonna go wrong. I bet you this is gonna go wrong, and this is gonna go wrong, and this is gonna go wrong, and then all of it did. And so duo, right? The way that IND found out that I was not illegal, that I am an illegal
alien. Yeah.
an illegal alien who eats dogs and cats. I sent Duo a letter. I was like, listen, I'm in your process, and I see that I'm about to have a fine, but I can tell you right now that the moment that I have to go do that, the IND is gonna find out that I am not living with my previous partner, and that's gonna mess me up. So, can you please remove me from that process? And I did that 4 months before the due date.
Yeah.
And then I sent them a letter. They didn't respond.
So basically, you're saying, look, I cannot comply with the integration course because the IND is going to rule that I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they didn't reply. And then the IND found out because I had to pull a document from the gemeente finally. So then they found out and they were like, oh, shit. Oh, doei, you're illegal. Get out in 4 weeks.
Oof. So
So I was
4-week deportation notice.
Yeah. Get out in 4 weeks. And that was December 2024. That's before my back and leg. And whatever. I had to fight it. I was prepared in my mind. I was like, okay, this is gonna be now the battle, right? Like I've been facing this. I built a life. I built a community. I know that I got support. So then I strengthened myself before I went into this fight. I trained, I leveled up before the final boss. And then during that entire year, I was fighting this process, like objecting, going to the lawyer, which I wanted this to be educational for people in my position. The juridisch loket, all right? Very useful resource. But for me, they didn't work. So I actually had to find a private one because they're so busy, they never responded to my email. But they're normally okay with this kind of stuff. So try your luck there first and then look for any immigration lawyer now. But they're so busy. They're going to be so busy. So if you know you got something coming up, find one now. If you've got something coming up in a year, find one now because they're so busy, they would just literally not even answer you. So then during this entire year, I was fighting it. I got a good lawyer. And then she was, because of people in financial detriment, you have this thing where you pay 170 euros to your lawyer and the rest is all cared for. And you get like 8 hours of like them doing stuff. So because of those 8 hours, also they don't work as hard, but they work. So then it's not they don't work as hard, but they don't respond because all of that
goes into
the accounts, right?
They do the minimal effort required.
Yeah.
But she did a good job, right? She did a really good job. So like she was doing everything that's possible. I'm not disparaging that. I'm disparaging the system in which like this is happening. She's also bound by
which
laws.
kind of goes back to the doctors as well.
A lot
sometimes.
of lawyers object to that this funding is not enough to cover their time in any meaningful way. And
She said to me that she was going to donate
quite
it.
some time.
Yeah, she said because I know your case and it says I'll do this. If it takes any longer than 8 hours, I will just do it as volunteer work. So very good, very very good lawyer. Then comes middle of 2025. That's when my back acts up, and then August is when my leg really goes bad because it was like my back, and then a month later was my leg,
My neck, my back.
my pussy and my crack.
Thank you.
Not my crack, eh? Not the Oosterpark, man. You know why the Oosterpark crackheads are there?
No.
Because this is not a joke, it's not a setup for sure. There's the best crackhead in town lives in Oost.
The best crack
What
in
do you mean
town.
the best crack? The best
Yeah.
crack or crackhead?
Both.
Oh,
The best crackhead dealer. Like he's like the. Oh, sorry. Did I not say dealer? Did I just say crackhead?
Just
Oh, you
crackhead.
said
Okay,
the
sorry.
best crack in
Yeah, I
town.
thought.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought like okay, there's just
The
one guy
best
who's
crack
really
dealer.
good at
No, the best
okay.
crack dealer. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
I understand.
And also crackhead diminishing term. I'm sorry. There are people with feelings, huh?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, do not
yeah.
dehumanize the
Yeah.
crackheads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's-
exactly.
People who use
No,
crack.
no, sorry.
Yeah, people
we
use
should-
crack users.
Crack people.
Yeah.
Enjoyers, crack enjoyers.
People of crack. Go on. Anyways.
People in meth, maybe.
Yeah.
So then, in 2025, my leg messes up, and then I get this deportation letter as a birthday present.
So 2025, you get the hernia.
Yeah, and then I ran out of objections to do.
Mm-hmm.
So then, during my hernia, I ran out of objections on the case that they were going to deport me. So I was objecting to deportation, and I was trying to find a different way to stay. So then those run out, and that's right after my birthday. My leg is already weird. So then now I'm having to they say final notice, 4 weeks final notice. You cannot stay in the country. There's no way, shape, or form that you can stay in this country while this is happening. So 4 weeks, you gotta go. You've run out of time. But that's not correct because they are acting above the law.
Right. So they're going against even Dutch law.
Yeah, they're going
in
against
issuing
Dutch
this.
law.
Yeah.
So the IND can act independently, actually,
Independently of the state.
of the states until it is brought to the state's attention.
And of course, the people who work at the IND,
They work for the state.
they're
And even when
Hill
something
builders.
gets brought to a judge from the IND, it's within we call it bestuursrecht. So it's like when you have a procedure against the state, right? And it's general knowledge within the law field in the Netherlands that if you have any process against the state, the judge will only be very mildly critical of anything that the government institution brought forward,
course.
and you have almost all the burden of proof,
yeah.
and you have to prove like beyond reasonable doubt anything to even put one little crack in the argumentation that the IND or any state institution brought to the judge. So it's a really unfair battle that you're having. The judge
Yeah.
is not really impartial in these cases, actually.
Although I will say that my lawyer assured me during the same meeting that she told me that IND is acting illegally, that she's like, there is still some really left-leaning judges here in Amsterdam. So I'm hoping, and I know she has a list of them and stuff. And my lawyer is also in the queer community, and so they like the communities that I've been involved in like fight the queer cause here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she was very like, I know you guys are left-leaning. I'm going to find you a left-leaning judge and try to appeal to this thing. So then she's now appealing to the court. But one thing I didn't finish is that the duo, right? Because of this thing, the duo, we objected everything. But then the IND, with this letter, they said, no, final note, you are now illegal officially since April of 2021. It is 2025. So they said, I'm only legal for 6 months. So then nothing that I've ever done in the country has ever been under legal pretense, right? But then duo is like, nope, you got to integrate, boy.
You
You still got to integrate. Shimmy, brother. Come on, give us that money. And so then I objected it, and then it got to the fucking deurwaarders. And the deurwaarders added another 400 euros to the situation. And then it turned out to be 1,750 euros.
So Duo is fining you for not integrating, while the IND is telling you that you should not be here, and therefore you are not eligible for the integration program.
Correct.
Amazing. Love Dutch bureaucracy.
This is typical Dutch
Yeah.
Dutch stuff.
Yeah.
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 You guys ever play pinball?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a peach-shaped pinball, just getting bounced around between all the possible little bumpers and stuff.
And you're doing this while you're being bounced around in the healthcare system, you're also being bounced around in the immigration system.
Yeah.
And you told me something very nice, maybe to round things off a little bit, but you told me something very nice that you put in a nice way, that it was kind of like two bullets colliding, where you could see that you were going to get deported right before you finally convinced them to give you a surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was, and this was the prediction market thing. I was watching this, and I was like, and now like because I can do nothing but think in my house. So like I'm just literally just like laying there just thinking, and I'm like, what's that meme with all the
the guy, yeah.
and all the math and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, wait a minute. I can see it. The bureaucratic gods. They're gonna align my final deportation notice with the fact that I need this surgery. And then I was even kind of wrong because the moment that they told me, which is when these bullets kissed, and actually the bullets were like, actually this happened a month ago. Mm-hmm. So when they told me, they were like, actually, we took your insurance away a month ago and we're just telling you now. Mm. And so that caused me to have already gone to my psychiatry appointments, which ended up being $900 out of pocket because I was under the full impression that I was still insured.
Right. Yeah. So because then, if you don't have legal status, then you don't have access to the Dutch healthcare insurance system.
And I spent 1 year getting my ADHD therapy.
Even more than that, right? If you don't have a registered address, then you don't have health insurance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but now I don't want insurance anymore, so it's cool.
I'll do my own medicine. Okay.
No, I will just pay for it if I need it. I don't want the insurance.
Oh, he's breaded now.
Yeah, but thick, huh? You got that doctor money.
Well, no, if you look at what you're paying monthly and and also the deductible, like for normal things, like if I would need some kind of expensive surgery, then of course it would be an issue, I guess. But for the normal, like everyday healthcare, it would be cheaper for me to pay it myself than to be paying the premium and the deductible.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive still.
But with the surgery, what could you do, like provisional insurance or like via the CAK or a fund or something that you're like, okay, if I need
you do have
surgery.
some routes with the CAK as well to get your medication covered still, but then you do have to go through the process of convincing the pharmacy that this exists, because they will tell you that no, you are not insured, you have to pay, but yeah, if you explain to them how it actually works, which is really funny that you go to the pharmacy and then you have to explain them how it works when it comes to reimbursing for people who aren't insured. And they will make you feel like shit as well too, right? So they will, I went there recently with a friend who doesn't have insurance as well. And then they will, it's just the way of, the way in which they approach it, that they make you feel like you're a criminal for not being insured, or like you have some sort of disease. And then she started explaining the process, that there's like contracted pharmacies that you can go to, but this was actually for people without insurance from outside the EU, which have a different route than people within the EU.
Oh my God.
So then you get into this thing like, I was born here, I am a citizen here, I'm not from outside of the EU, I just don't have insurance. But they don't know how it works, and they make a mess of it. That's it, basically.
Yeah.
And you have to explain it to them. And also another.
But they didn't want to hear it. I go there and I try to explain to them. They're like, I don't speak English.
No, but you have to go to. They will say 5 times no, or they come up with some excuse, and you have to keep pushing. Like, no, I know this is the truth. This is the way to do it, and you can get it insured and reimbursed. But they will keep refusing or acting like they don't know.
This is like throughout this whole process, by the way. You have instant discrimination to people who are less capable.
Yeah.
Because you need to navigate this yourself.
Yeah.
So if at any point you are not awake or persistent or
if you
smart
don't know
enough,
about it, or you're not assertive,
or
then
educated
you will
enough that you happen to know that this is how it works.
Then you will walk out the door by with paying for your own medication while it should be covered, or you walk away without medication.
Yeah.
And apparently a lot of pharmacists are very comfortable with this outcome. And I would say as a healthcare professional, you should be very uncomfortable with that outcome. But that's the thing.
For the
people don't. Yeah. That's one of the problems, that people don't feel uncomfortable with refusing people based on insurance or immigration status. This is one of the bigger issues, I think, why this goes wrong so many times. And actually it's very accepted and normalized to be rejecting people outright on this basis. Specifically when.
But you know what's funny? I pursued all these options at some point, and this is deeper even in the story, in the timeline, because there's always more. But I started calling them. I called the CAK, And then they were like, but you have to get this thing from the SVG. And then I called SVG, which handles like this, the act that says that if you work here legally in the Netherlands, you get health insurance. But then I was like, man, but I don't work legally here in the Netherlands. Like, but then I have some other lady telling me that's like, no, but there's a fund in this CAK. But so I called the CAK and I asked about the fund. They said I need to get the thing from the SVG. And then I called the thing. They're like, nope, it sounds like you need the SVG. And then I call the SVG. I send them an email.
So many times can you guys talk to each other? You work for the same government, right?
Bro, they pretend they don't talk to each other, but I swear to God,
if they want to talk to each other, they know how to find the
duo and the IND thing. I'm like, do you not communicate? They're like, no, we are not in contact. But then later on, they were timing the next fucking, because they keep sending me stuff, bro. They keep sending me bills.
This is 100% true. They will pretend that they cannot communicate, but when it benefits them, they exchange all kind of stuff that they shouldn't even be exchanging.
Insider trading.
It's crazy.
No, literally, because you know what? They timed. They keep sending me bills. Duo still. They send me a bill that not a bill. Sorry, a letter that I have to integrate.
Still,
bro. They still send me letters that I have to integrate, and then I had to call them and be like, guys, I cannot. You already fined me 1,750 euros. You cannot do this.
Yeah.
And then they're like, nope, sorry. And you know what? Because I had a due date on which I could have gotten my new visa that I did get. End of story, spoiler alert, I do have a 2-year visa. Yeah.
You do have a visa. Okay.
I have a 2-year visa, but I'll explain why that one's also tricky. I had a due date for when I could get that. So then the CAK or the duo sent me a integration notice that I have to integrate a month after that. So then I'm like, oh, so hang on a minute. You're telling me that right then I have the thing that says, say in January, they would have told me if I could have stayed in the country or not. And then if I couldn't have, you were going to fine me in February for a thing that I, again, cannot integrate that I already paid the fine for? Come on, this is ridiculous. And so now we're...
Sorry, I have this cough. But
I'm trying to find this...
Because this is where the juicy part starts. And this is where I got the evidence.
Oh, you still have juice?
No, yeah, brother. You don't even know. Look at the bills, bro. I brought every single one of them.
I'm trying to find this LinkedIn post that I saved. It's from a neurologist in the Netherlands.
You should
and it really fits your story so good. So I want to do it, but I have to find it.
Yeah.
These are all bills amounting to 10,000 euros.
10,000 euros in fines from the bureaucratic hell of being in the Dutch healthcare system and the Dutch immigration system.
And I'm going to read some of the numbers in these bills because it's ridiculous, huh? In that ambulance that I called, you know what I found out? In the ambulance thing, you can actually see they charge per kilometer.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So then they were going, they charge per kilometer because now they have to give you an invoice breakdown, which you normally never see. It goes straight to your insurance. But now that I get to have a little peek in their thing. Yeah, hang on a minute. Where is this? Yeah, bro, all of these are bills. This is insane. This is a different bill.
Oh, and that was your paperwork gone?
No, that's an invoice for a power supply unit for my computer. 400, it's just to read it, 400 euros.
At least the morphine is affordable.
The morphine is affordable.
176 euros. I paid this 3 times. This is the Raad voor Rechtsbijstand.
Oh my God, man. Like, you understand, when I see one of these blue letters, I get immensely pissed off.
Yeah.
Can you imagine life?
This is my letter telling me I got my DAFT visa, which cost 5,000 euros. After all of these bills, I still have to pay 5,000 euros. So,
it's bureaucratic violence, right?
Systematic abuse.
Knows how to do very, very good. Yeah.
130 euros.
And
there's a fat one for 1,000 euros right here.
Let's read this.
Ambulance.
The ambulance.
Ambulance, 991 euros. So then that's right after they called me to say that my insurance was gone a month prior. That was 900 bucks. I don't even have this bill. So that's already 1,750 from Duo, 900 for my my therapy, which I had spent 1 year trying to chase, and I finally got it. Then they took away my insurance and then they removed that for me. It made me pay $900. Then another 991 euros. And right here, they have a breakdown for the kilometers. Where's that shit?
There's a funny thing about the pricing of these kind of things. I know, for example, from the emergency GP places, right? They also do home visits with their car. And it costs, I think, most of the time like 250 euros or something. But these kind of prices, they have nothing to do with any realistic sort of cost associated with transporting you.
What vehicle cost 1,000 euros? How long were you in this vehicle? 5 days?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
People gonna blame it on.
So what they do is
the dog and cat
they
buffet was
take the total operational cost of this operation and they divide it by the amount of transports they do in a year, and that will be the cost per transport.
Insane.
And then you look at the cost per transport and it's like 900 or 400. They will say, transport is very expensive, so we have to reduce the amount of transports that we do as much as possible. But if you have like a slight economic brain, you will know that if you increase the amount of transport, the amount of cost per transport will be lower. So there's
I mean, this is I'm getting furious. I'm getting furious. You don't understand these papers being on my
these
table.
prices sort of get inflated
Like 20.
by the reflex of trying to reduce them as well, because the overhead will be the same, but they try to reduce the amount of transports they do.
Yeah.
I've been reduced to a statistic. Then immediately
Sorry for
after
dehumanizing you.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's what I've become, huh?
Yeah.
And I've become a really good one because I'm in this. They're like, oh my god, this guy's a fucking money cow, and so I'm the government's daddy. They think I have all the bucks. You know, they're just gonna keep milking me dry. Another 300, and this was like one of the very first bills I got, and I love this one so much. It is 300 euros. It is for my brain medicine, the one that allowed me to operate this entire thing, because the deadlines, it would be like, I have a 2-week deadline for the IND, 2-week deadline for the hospital, 2-week deadline for this, and I was just like, the whole time in excruciating pain, the whole time on opioids. This one is 298 for my Tentin, for my ADHD medicine, which I very direly needed and finally got. Then not only the 900 for the therapy and then 300 for this, then another 14 euros, but then they just keep piling
that's
up.
the morphine. Morphine is really affordable.
Morphine is affordable. yeah. And it's just this, and it's just like 90 euros, 80 euros, and that's just not even the Ubers, and the dual letter's not here. And then the 5,000 that I had to pay to get my 2-year visa. And I only have a 2-year visa that limits me to a freelancer market. I'm crippled. I cannot lift. Yeah. And it's just like this idea of systematic abuse. Like, how can this happen? Why is this allowed?
Yeah, and it just shouldn't matter whether you have a visa, whether you are visiting here as a tourist, whether you are here illegally, whatever the case may be. We start the Constitution, right, with the first article, and it doesn't say people with Dutch nationalities. It says whoever resides in this country has right to equal treatment. So if you would look at our Constitution, it shouldn't matter at all, like, if you have some sort of status or visa, you should be treated equally, and you get bombarded with these kind of bills, which make it impossible for you, maybe almost, to get like decent healthcare. And this shouldn't be the case. It's like your human right to get it the same way as anyone else here.
There was only one person ever that treated me really nice, and his name is Jan Yoon, and he's one of the psychiatrists at ADHD Centraal, and he looked at me, he's like, what they're doing to you is inhumane. And it was the only time I ever heard. And
that
he
must
was like,
feel so validating.
But then he told me, I can't even talk to you right now because the call that you're making for me right now would cost you 150 euros. So I'm just making this for free just to tell you, I'm going to put in some medicine for you. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Maybe blur out his name or something. But oopsie. He was like, I'm sorry. Maybe in 4 months when you have it again, maybe we can try it again. But good luck until then. I can't talk to you anymore. Bye.
Yeah, that's insane. Look, I think we've been through the hellhole of all of this. I want to quickly, before we get to how we can help you, I just want to summarize it, right? So
Oh, but can I just one really quick thing though? Because
go on.
because I have a list of a really quick summary of what the IND is doing illegally. Because I have claimed on camera that the IND is acting illegally, and I can tell you in
sure they
every
are.
specific way.
Yeah.
For sure they
Because
are.
I have an open case with the judge that if I win, then they have to judge me again for the conditions that I applied with in September of last year. And I sent them to you.
Oh yeah, you sent the
Yeah. So denying the fundamental right to be heard. And you have 2 objections or 2 or 3, and then a hearing. And in the hearing, that is the most important thing. And that's on Article 8 ECHR. And that's that if you are heard by the judge and the conditions are met at the end, or are heard by the IND, and you meet those conditions with, so you've been speaking to robots and paperwork, but once you speak to a person there, then there is the good thing that happens, which is humanity, and then you can appeal your case visually to a person. They denied me. They flat out said, nope, you're not having that. You're leaving the country. That's illegal. Then they ignored the EU court rulings of Kachab and Chakroon, which is the adjustable rate of income that you can have proportional to the amount of spending that you have in a year, right? So whereas you have the 2,000 or 1,800s euros that you have to meet every month, if your spending is less, because they assume that every average citizen is spending this much, and then this is legal precedent, meaning that other people with the EU court ruling have won on. They declined that and said, nope. And they did it on an opinion.
Yeah, they will say, we apply this standard and we just apply it. And then only if you appeal it, that's how you can get an exception.
But,
Wow.
but in that, he said, it is evidential that this is not the case. So it's like that with no circumstantial evidence, or with no like actual literal evidence. He goes, it is evidential that this is not the case. They dismissed the financial guarantees, which again, there's like another legal precedent that says that if you have some a guarantor, like a parent or something like that, that their money can also be included in the thing. And so that's also acted illegally, acted above that. And then one of the most serious ones is that, because I am from Brazil. I'm from Brazil, and I moved to the United States at 10 years old via a green card lottery. If right now, because of the political climate, if I get deported to the U.S., that's life-threatening.
You might get deported to. Well, first of all, you might disappear in the ICE Gestapo system, and just disappear. I don't know where you end up.
In Ecuador, El Salvador.
Yeah, or alligator Alcatraz. Like
Guantanamo.
At this point, seriously, or you might get human trafficked. Like there's people disappearing by the hundreds, right? So, and even if everything goes well, you're gonna be humiliated through this concentration camp type prison system they have now for immigrants in the U.S. and then eventually sent to Brazil.
And then they also were ready to deport my girlfriend, and that's another one of the things where it's like,
God.
Yeah, they were like, we would sooner have your girlfriend move out of the country, which they're a Dutch citizen. We would sooner have you and them move out and build a life in the U.S. than you stay exactly as you are, no touches to your life at all. So like, if I didn't change anything about my life, nothing would have happened, and they would have just written it out, and then I would have been fine. Because we met the income requirement, we met everything was fine. But they said no, we would rather a Dutch citizen move out because they're taking housing away from things where it's like, no, it's in it's a family house. You can't. I'm not taking it from anybody. I've never applied for any toeslag of anything other than the zorgtoeslag, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they paint me out to be a fucking criminal.
Which healthcare should be free anyways, by the way. But yeah.
Can I get into the hernia a little bit more, because it's kind of funny from a medical perspective. I think it's you brought forward like a case that's quite exemplary in a lot of ways, because it's general consensus to treat patients according to evidence-based medicine is what they call it, right? So Yeah, you treat according to the best evidence. And so in the cases of a hernia, they normally say that conservative treatment, which means not doing surgery, is preferred because in most cases it resolves by itself, right? But what I see a lot is that what doctors apply to their patients is not what they apply to themselves. So you have these kind of coughs with little children. They get especially during the fall time, and it's not dangerous, but it sounds like they're choking, and it gets parents stressed a lot of the times. And you could easily solve it for a night by giving a little bit of dexamethasone, so some corticosteroids. But according to the evidence, it's not necessary because they heal by themselves and it's not dangerous. But then if you look at what the doctors practice when it comes to their own children, you will see that a lot of times if their children suffer from this, then they will treat them with
Then all of a sudden they
dexamethasone.
get treated like a human, right?
Yes.
Whose pain is worth something. Yeah.
So I recently read a LinkedIn post by a neurologist. I will not say her name, but I will read part of the post because it's kind of it shows this double standard that is present in the healthcare community. So first of all, also we have to recognize, right, that a hernia it just hurts like hell, and a lot of times this pain does not get valued like it should be sometimes by doctors. It's like they will frame it as something you just have to deal with. We cannot change it, blah, blah, blah. So this is a neurologist, and she has treated a lot of people with hernias. And she describes in this post how she got a hernia herself. And the way she's describing it make it seem like this is the first time that she realized that a hernia actually really hurts, which to me is like, you see these kind of patients on a daily basis. How can you not be tapped into the amount of pain that this causes, right? It's excruciating. You cannot live with this kind of pain. You cannot live your life normally. Well, for her, it took having a neck hernia herself to realize this.
An experience, yeah.
And then she is describing that I'm very happy to be close to the fire, which means like to be connected within the healthcare community. So I got surgery quickly, and I'm really thankful for this. But I do realize that we have to make our patients sometimes wait for months, and I'm really sorry about that. Studies show that after 1 year, there's no difference between people who had surgery and people who did not have surgery. So this is the evidence-based part. So she's recognizing that according to the evidence, there's no difference in outcome between surgery and non-surgery within 1 year. But when she herself got a hernia, she used her connections within the hospital to get surgery very quickly. And the fact that she is posting this publicly on LinkedIn shows that, I mean, I would be ashamed to post something like this. I would be like, oh, I cheated the system because I'm a doctor, and my patients are being fucked over by
a little
these
bit of
waiting
moral
times.
uploading.
Yeah.
I want to say sorry without saying it.
But they are a person like this, they post it on LinkedIn. So this shows to me how unaware they are of how they treat themselves so differently than their patient, and they really see their patient as something different than what they are themselves, right?
Yeah, it's we're not the same.
There was a lady at the hospital. She was like, yeah, it's just pain. I've had a hernia. And I was like, yeah? So what happened to you? She's like, it went away in 2 weeks.
Okay, lucky you.
Yeah, lucky you. It's been 7 months. I can't walk.
Lucky you.
But why is it? So why is it that they make everyone wait for their treatment? Is it just negligence from the practitioner side? Is it because we don't have enough healthcare in general in the Netherlands, or is it because of the insurance company?
Multiple things behind it, right? Because you need an MRI first of all to really definitively conclude that there is a hernia. And we've really limited the amount of MRIs that you can get. So the waiting list for MRI is already high. So they put some sort of break on that. So you go to the GP and they will first say, you are very young, you have very low chance of having a hernia, and you're your symptoms aren't so typical. So I think it's not a hernia. Just wait it out. That's where you have to wait already. Then when you finally do go to the neurologist, then you have to wait for the MRI. And then you're probably already 6 months in. And then they will say, you do have a hernia, but normally it resolves by itself. So just wait a few more months and we will see. And if you still have it in a few more months and it's really bad, then we maybe can consider the surgery.
Right.
And then you get the call that you got. And then he will be like, do you really want the surgery? They will still try to hold you off.
But why is it because we can't as a nation afford to give people surgeries to stop their pain?
Is it because there's too little people to do it?
It is a lack of people to do it, I guess, to treat everyone. That's part of it. And then there's this justification in science that is very convenient to just say that there's no difference in outcome after 1 year.
But that's not true.
Well,
Because I've read data that said, well, I don't know if it's not true, but I have read data
Mhm.
that is consistent across multiple medical sources that I've seen, is that the chance of reoccurrence on a person that didn't have surgery is like 60, and I might be wrong, but 60 to 70% more likely. And I don't know if 60% more likely to occur than a person who didn't, or 60% of people get
it
an
again.
instance of recurrence, but a person who has had the surgery, it's almost like 10%. 90% of people have it without.
Yeah.
That's the data that I've read. I'm not trying to counter, but
but it could be different data. Like maybe the data she's referring to here is also right. It's referring maybe to the first episode and then checking after 1 year, which is a different study than checking reoccurrences of the same disease. So they could both be correct still.
But I do want to jump in and say I saw another doctor, a Dutch doctor, who was discussing this, and what she explained is that because of the health insurance scam that we have, basically doctors are forced to do a lot more paperwork than actual care. So even though we would have enough doctors, most of their time is being spent on paperwork, justifying the treatment that they're giving their clients, so that the clients don't have to can get treatment covered from the health insurance company.
It is partly true because the healthcare insurance companies, they also enforce this evidence-based medicine. So you can only get things reimbursed if it's evidence-based. But in practice, the reality is that if the neurologist would just write down that it's indicated for you, you would get it insured, and nobody would check if you would fulfill the diagnostic criteria or whatever.
Doesn't the health insurance companies put in an ungodly and an unnecessary amount of paperwork in order to slow down this process so that they have less costs? That
you know what's funny? I caught an instance of understaffing because there was a possibility for me to get that surgery maybe faster if I called, and then the hospital kept bouncing me around, and then I landed to the because the doctor just wasn't scheduling my thing. He said, okay, we'll get you your surgery, but then he just wasn't scheduling it. And then it took weeks. I was like, come on, if you schedule it quicker, because I saw the bullets colliding. I was like, if you schedule it quicker, maybe I get a chance to get the surgery before the insurance thing.
Yeah.
And I called to the, what do they call it? The operator, like the surgery operator, like the planning
people who schedule the planning,
the schedule operator, whatever. And then I called. Some guy picks up, and he was like, "Hey, I'm a scheduling operator." And I was like, "Okay, can you schedule?" He's like, "No, the girl who schedules your surgeries is on vacation, so you have to wait 2 weeks for her to come back." And I was like, and he was like, "There's no other operator in this hospital that could do it." I was like, "What do you mean? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Operate my surgery."
What do you mean? Your job is replaceable by AI. What are you even doing?
He's a surgery operator.
But not for your surgery.
No.
So unfortunately, I cannot help you. You have to be at the other desk.
Yes, which is next to me, and it's empty.
Yeah. Computer says no.
Yeah. Man, there's no one here.
Yeah.
There's no one here.
Anyway, I'm busy. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Okay. I think
the amount of paperwork actually required for the insurance company, I think there's not so much of it. It's not the US where you have to get like pre-authorization and all this kind of stuff. So actually, if the doctor would just request it, plan you, you would get it insured. But there's just a culture of fear, a defensive culture of fear in general, that you have to abide by guidelines and you have to write everything down. And this increases a lot of the paper load.
Okay.
But it's not so much the insurance company. Maybe it's part of it, but it's not the majority part of the paperwork.
Interesting. We're gonna interview her next time.
Yeah. Maybe she
so
has
I'm very
different insight
because
than me.
she put it very simply in a way that I understand from looking at American politics, right?
Mhm.
The doctor is forced by the insurance company to do all of the paperwork in order to justify giving care,
Yeah.
and therefore most of the time is spent on paperwork rather than treatment.
Yeah.
And because of that, we have a shortage of people who can give treatment. Anyways,
I do
we'll
think
see.
that a lot of people on the floor, they do have the impression that they have to do a lot of stuff that in fact they don't have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just one comment here from the chat is that I have a friend who comes from a very Dutch family living right in front of the Museumplein, so probably a little bit wealthy, having two parents working high up as high up lawyers, and he also had a hernia. Within 2 weeks of the MRI and diagnosis, he got surgery. After surgery, he got physical therapy for 1 to 2 years. Amazing.
Good for him.
I do
Good-
have to
good for
say
him.
that one time at neurosurgery in an academic hospital in the Netherlands, there was a woman who was the wife of a multinational company, and she also got in through these certain ways. So there
there's all
is
this,
some corruption at that level.
Yeah.
And this is also the moment that I learned about the abbreviation that I never heard before in my life. It's OSM, in Dutch, onsoort mensen. In English, it would translate to our kind of people. Yeah.
So you can if you're in the right kind of people, you can get preferred
yes,
treatment.
then you get a different kind of treatment. Yes.
Look, Pete, thank you so much for joining. We've been going for over an hour now. I think
Yeah.
an hour and a half. But it takes time to go through all the different necks and crevices of.
Yeah, because this one's complicated. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and with all this paperwork here, how can we help you? For anyone who is still paying attention, and let me know, how can we help you get over these costs?
Yeah, so I've been a longtime member of Radion, and they have granted me the rights. They have granted me the rights that some haven't, to allow me to do a fundraiser event there. But because I'm an event producer and a filmmaker, and I have the skill set and the friends and community and all that, I've managed to gather the resources to make an incredible production. Something I've never done before, and something I've never done before.
Yeah, you're
To the scale that it's never been done before. I swear it's the biggest production in the world. Big guys all around. Such big, beautiful guys. Anyway, a big
Can we
production.
call you in just to do Trump impersonation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any day of the week.
we could have done this whole podcast like this.
Yes. But they would never charge me money. I would charge them money. That's the situation.
Yeah.
But so because I gathered a beautiful community that loves me so much, and that I've labored for them for almost free for these last like 5 years, and I seldom ask for anything in return. But this time I reached out, and they were like, yes. Everybody said yes. Everybody I reached out to said yes. So I got like 30 people, some of the most amazing artists that I know. I got an entire multicam production for a Jimmy Kimmel style talk show that
Amazing.
I'm putting myself together.
Nice.
Multicam, the whole tech thing. It's gonna be incredible. I can't even explain it to you in one sentence, much less several sentences. But it contextualizes my experience in the same confusion and craziness that I experienced with the hopes that without me having to tell you, you
Like you
will
did here.
feel it. You will
Yeah.
feel the confusion. You will feel that thing. So come March 19th from 7 p.m. to 3 in the morning. And if you can't make it, you're not in Amsterdam, you can join in because it's going to be live streamed. The entire thing will be live streamed. You can see the entire party, because there's a party and a talk show. You can see everything. But you can't really see everything. There's some things that you can only see if you come to the event. There's going to be merchandise that I handmade, like 60 shirts or so,
Looks
sweaters.
thick, yeah.
We made some special products. There's donation incentives across the entire budget. So if you are, and the tickets are super, super affordable. It's $10. And if you really don't have the money, but you want to come experience it, just hit me up on Instagram, _StoneJelly. Reach out to me, say you're financially detrimented, but you want to come have some fun. I'll get you a discount code because I'm not greedy. Yeah. I just want to
Just want to get back to zero.
I just want to get back to zero. I do
Yeah.
all this, and then I make all this effort I spent over 400 hours doing this because I didn't want to sit around and beg for money. Yeah. After all that, just to get to 0.